First, we have Art Collector. Art Collector is trained by William Mott and owned by Bruce Lunsford, and brought in $797,000 in 2021, 3 for 4, first place in 4 starts. Most recently, first place in the Woodward Stakes Grade 1 at Belmont Park on October 2nd, and then first place before that in the Charlestown Classic Stakes at Charlestown, and then won a stakes race at Saratoga right before that. So this is kind of a middle-of-the-pack horse. Art Collector is very fast. He has an E-speed figure of 120 for his most recent race. I'm going to say he's going to be a little bit in the middle of the pack for this next one, simply because the caliber that this horse has been racing at is not as good compared to some other horses in the race, but still a very good record, especially recently. So Art Collector is my 5th selection for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Next, we have Essential Quality out of Kentucky, trained by Brad Cox and owned by Godolphin Stables. $2.8 million in 2021 alone, 5 for 6 on the year. Most recently, the Run Happy Travers Stakes Grade 1 race at Saratoga, first place for Essential Quality that one. Then won the Jim Dandy, won the Belmont Stakes, and then won a host of races, including the Breeders' Cup Juvenile before that, in the 4th place in the Kentucky Derby. That's the only race he has not won in his career. So, needless to say, Essential Quality is extremely talented, and I think in this field, he's going to have another chance against Hot Rod Charlie and Medina Spirit, and I think that he's going to be able to do pretty well against them. Essential Quality is my pick to win the Breeders' Cup Classic 2021 at Del Mar. Next horse in the race is going to be Express Train out of Kentucky, trained by John Sheriffs and owned by CRK Stable. $522,000 in 2021, 7 starts, 2 first place, 1 second place, and 3 third place. So first place in the San Diego Handicap at Del Mar, so this horse is experienced running at this track. That was a pretty good race, but then after that, 6th place in the TVG Pacific Classic, also at Del Mar, not very good there, fell behind horses like Tripoli, who won that race, who's also going to be racing in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And then 3rd place out of the Awesome Again Stakes, so ran a little faster, performed a little better, but still behind horses like Medina Spirit. So going down in quality of the races for Express Train. Express Train is going to be my number 9 pick in this race. The 4th horse I'm going to talk about in this race is Hot Rod Charlie, trained by Doug O'Neill, and this is one of my favorite horses. I'm a huge fan of Hot Rod Charlie, $1.7 million in 2021, and this is a horse that really should have won more in his career, but that also means that he has the potential to win and continue winning in future races. So he came in 2nd place in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. That was behind, of course, Essential Quality, and then 1st place in the Louisiana Derby. 3rd place in the Kentucky Derby, beat Essential Quality in that one. 2nd place in the Belmont Stakes, right behind Essential Quality. So this horse runs with the best. 7th place in the Haskell Stakes, but he really should have gotten 1st place, assuming there was no disqualification. And then 1st place in the Pennsylvania Derby. So he knows how to win. He knows how to almost win. And if he just gets a little bit lucky in the Breeders' Cup Classic, he could be the winner. And 120 E-speed figure, so he's pretty fast, and he's been improving his speed up until the Pennsylvania Derby. So Hot Rod Charlie is going to be my 3rd pick for this race. He's coming in 3rd place. Next, we have Idol, trained by Richard Baltus, and $264,000 brought in 2021, 3 starts, and 1 first place, 1 third place. Most recently, 6th place at the Awesome Again Stakes. I think got beat by 3 or 4 horses that are all racing in this one, so that is not a good record to have, and that was at Santa Anita, so not far from Del Mar. And then right before that, Santa Anita Handicap won that one, but it was in March, so you have a long layoff from March to October, and that was not good for this horse because he went from 1st place to 6th place. Despite having done pretty well in his early career in 2 graded stakes races, and then, of course, the Santa Anita Handicap. So he slowed down in the Awesome Again Stakes, maybe just wasn't used to running like he was in March, and I'm not a big fan of this horse for this race, especially considering a lot of the horses in this race were in that race at Santa Anita. So Idol is going to be my last selection for this race. Next is Knicks Go, trained by Brad Cox and owned by the Korea Racing Authority. $4.2 million brought in 2021, largely because of the victory in the Pegasus World Cup at Gulfstream Park in January, followed by a 4th place in the Saudi Cup at King Abdulaziz Racecourse, and then 1st place in the Prairie Meadows Cornhusker Grade 3, and then 1st place in the Whitney Stakes Grade 1, followed by 1st place in the Lucas Classic Stakes. So, Knicks Go has been pretty consistent through his year in 2021, but not so consistent in his entire career. So Knicks Go, I think, is going to be towards the middle of the pack for this one. Not quite as good as horses like Hot Rod Charlie or Essential Quality, but better than most of the field. So I'm going to go for Knicks Go, probably 4th place in this race. Ran pretty well recently. However, maybe not against some of the best horses around, and a little inconsistent throughout his entire career. The next horse I'm going to talk about is Max Player, trained by Steve Asmussen. Brought in $757,000 in 2021. 4 starts, 2 first-place finishes, most recently coming at the Jockey Club Gold Cup Stakes at Belmont Park, and then first place at the Suburban Stakes at, that was at Belmont Park, and the other one was at Saratoga. 2 first-place victories, both 113 E-speed figures, so ran pretty fast. But before that, 6th place at Pimlico, 5th place at the Preakness Stakes, 5th place at the Kentucky Derby last year, 2020 Kentucky Derby. And then 11th place at the Saudi Cup. So a little bit inconsistent over time. Has a lot of experience, ran in the Belmont Stakes, ran in the Travers Stakes. So this horse knows how to run against top talent. However, I like the most recent victories by this horse, but a little bit inconsistent over time. So Max Player is going to be my 6th selection in this race. Next, we have the Kentucky Derby winner, Medina Spirit, trained by Bob Baffert and owned by Zidane Racing Stables. $2.5 million brought in 2021. Most recently ran first place at the Awesome Again Stakes at Santa Anita, first place at the Shared Belief Stakes at Del Mar. So Medina Spirit has a little bit of experience running in, first of all, Southern California, but also at Del Mar. And before that, 3rd place in the Preakness Stakes and 1st place in the Kentucky Derby in an impressive performance, though it is possible that there was a disqualification warranted that'll be decided at a later date. So Medina Spirit, as of right now, is one of the top contenders for this race, and 4 for 8 this year, 5 for 9 in his career, and a lot of money brought in. You can't look past that Kentucky Derby victory, assuming it was legitimate, and you have the Awesome Again Stakes most recently. And so a lot of the horses in this race were in that Awesome Again Stakes, and Medina Spirit beat them, and beat them by a good margin. So Medina Spirit is going to be my 2nd horse for this race. Next, we have Stilleto Boy, trained by Ed Moger Jr. and owned by Steve Moger. We have $318,000 brought in 2021, 2 for 9 for first place victories, but with 2 second place finishes and 3 third place finishes this calendar year. We have 2nd place at the Awesome Again Stakes. That was pretty good, right behind Medina Spirit, beating a lot of horses that are going to be in this race. 3rd place, the Shared Belief Stakes, again behind Medina Spirit, and that was at Del Mar, so this horse is a little bit experienced running at Del Mar. And then before that, we have La Jolla Handicap at Del Mar, 5th place there, not so good performance-wise, but getting a little bit of experience. And right before that, we got the Iowa Derby, 1st place there, 106 E-speed figure at Prairie Meadows. So this horse can run pretty fast, about as fast as the other horses in this race, but he's just got to get off to a good start. And the Del Mar is experienced there, but a little bit not the best performances that we've seen from Stilleto Boy. So Stilleto Boy is going to be my 7th selection in this race. Next up, we have Tripoli. Tripoli, $757,000 brought in 2021, and most recently ran 4th place at the Awesome Again Stakes. I was pretty disappointed by that because you had 2 allowance victories at Santa Anita, you had 2nd place in the San Diego Handicap, and you had 1st place in the TVG Pacific Classic Stakes at Del Mar. So this horse is experienced running at Del Mar, has won at Del Mar in the TVG Pacific Classic. That was a big victory. 109 E-speed figure, ran really well, but then went down a little bit with the Awesome Again Stakes, placing behind Stilleto Boy, placing behind Medina Spirit. 98 E-speed figure, so still pretty fast for that race, but that was at Santa Anita. So, $757,000 brought in, 3 for 7 on the year. So if you had asked me about this horse maybe a month ago, I would have been a lot more willing to say that this horse is going to have a chance at winning. That Awesome Again race, I was not too happy about. So I got to say, for Tripoli, it's going to be my number 8 selection.